Talking about cruelty in comedy and Jimmy Carr. Some of the greatest comedians, they're cruel. And it's not just Jimmy, Ricky Gervais, even back to Dame Edna. We're laughing at the cruelty, because it's a joke. The world is an awful, cruel place, isn't it? So we need to laugh about how awful the world is, and it makes us feel better in the moment. Until we leave the gig and realise everything is still the same. And we feel worse, don't we, at laughing at the very things that made us feel sad before we went in. As I say, no aftercare, no depth. Anyway, I'm talking about a lunch I had with Jimmy Carr in 2002 at the Pleasance Courtyard in Edinburgh. I'd just seen his show, Barefaced Ambition. And I used to write letters to organisations when I first started comedy. And so he did the same thing to Amnesty International. He did a joke about it that Brian Logan didn't understand. So I said to Jimmy, I saw your show, and I saw that you'd written letters to Amnesty International, just like I wrote letters to corporations that you probably saw me do. Interesting. Piracy. And I said, did you really write that letter to Amnesty International? And he said, yes. And he said, Brian Logan is missing the point. All comedians read reviews, of course. He said, it's not heartless like Brian Logan said. Amnesty International just point out things that are happening. I have the ambition, he said, to go around the world and cheer people up and make a difference. And here we are, a quarter of a century later. And Jimmy has achieved this ambition. He has gone around the world cheering people up, making a difference. There's an argument that he is now more effective at making the world a better place than Amnesty International. He goes all around the world cheering people up, including Saudi Arabia. Brilliant. But genuinely, that conversation made me give up stand-up comedy for nearly a decade. It was horrific. It was a lunch for him he will not remember, but I will remember it forever. Because it was one of the most horrific human rights abuses I have ever experienced. Because I thought, I don't want to do this. If this is comedy, if this is more appealing comedy than mine, demoting me to a middle spot, so he's the headline, I don't want to do this. I don't want to apply a sticking plaster for an hour to people's problems with my comedy, laughing at human rights abuses, rape and the Holocaust. I want to make people laugh and genuinely change people's lives. Change the world. And so I went away for 10 years to think about it. And I started back in comedy 10 years later, still not knowing how to achieve my barefaced ambition. But 16 years later, I finally found the answer.